So you're saying about 3G transformation. So with you, as the Chief of Army now, how would you describe at the stage of, let's say, the percentage level, reaching the transformation at 70% now or 80%?
That's a very difficult question. I tell you why it's a difficult question first, then I'll try my best to tell you where we are. Typically, a transformation can take at least one generation. If you hear what I described and you think about what we used to do, one generation would at least take about 10 years, in my mind. Because it's not just about buying the platform, but it's training the people, making them operate together, new doctrine, new tactics. It will take some time. We started in 2005. We announced that, okay, we are going to do this transformation. So you can say we're about 5 years. Today, all the platforms, or many of the platform systems that we need, you have already seen, and we have introduced in the Army. But we have some way to go because we only have the first motorized battalion. We still need to raise the second and the third. And we need to proliferate the ACMS, the Skyblade and so on. So we have some way to go. I think what I can say is that we're at the point that we're very confident that the elements that we want, they are there, and we're able to put it together and we're able to demonstrate the capability. Now we need to build up the competency capability and spread to the rest of the Army. So I think that from a stage 1 point of view, which is, are the pieces there? The pieces are there. Are we able to bring it together? Stage 2, yes, we are able to bring it together. We need to operationalize it. It's still some way to go. And as we develop, we will develop new competency, new capabilities, and new techniques and doctrines. So that is also a natural part of the evolution of an army. So we're some way to go, but I would say that we're off to a very good start.
Former Chief of Army Kim said that by 2011, at least one division will be fully digitized. That means from active to NS battalion. So I'm just wondering, we are at 2011. So how many more years for maybe the next two battalions?
We work. So we work on a concept, as General mentioned, of focusing one division at a time, right? Because we want to, for a few reasons. One reason is we need to focus and make sure that we get all the pieces correct. Second reason, we also want to make sure that whatever we get doesn't all become obsolete at the same time, right? So we develop it phase by phase. So we just, in fact, at the end of the last work year, which is the start of this work year, our work year 2011, we've actually did an exercise to bring all these pieces together. And so we have achieved what General set out to do, which is that the first division, the elements of the third generation army for the first division are in place.
So from now, how many more years?
Or how many more?
Maybe for the next two divisions.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you, it'll take some time. It'll take some time.
Another 10 years? Since you see it
takes some time. Any other questions?
Yes. So, General, some feedback from our leaders saying that every year, SAF best unit competition, First Commando Battalion is the best combat unit. So there are changes in other unit competition as well as Navy and Air Force. But why First Commando Battalion is they are the best, or the other units are not as good as them?
Okay.
And the second question is, so far we have gone to overseas trainings in Brunei, Taiwan, Thailand, and Australia. Then, is there any other plans to enroll other countries for our troops to go and train?
Okay. So first, in your question about First Commando Battalion, I actually asked them the same question. I wanted to test them. Let me tell you that winning the best combat unit competition is something which is very tough. But the reason why we have the competition is we want to spur all our units. And best unit competition looks at unit from many perspectives, from operations, their training, their safety, their logistics, their HR. And there have been non-commando units that have won the best unit competition. There have been. And the pressure on all the units to try to beat the commandos is very high. And the pressure on the commandos to be the best is very high. And this is exactly what we want. This is the kind of position we want to be in. The commandos are some of the best soldiers that we have in the army. And therefore, we expect that they maintain very high standards. But we also want every other unit to strive to beat them. And it has been done before. And therefore, I think, from our point of view, this is a good situation. that some of our best units do well, but more importantly, everybody knows that there's a chance for them to beat the commandos if commanders ever sleep, and commanders know that there are a lot of people watching them, waiting for the opportunity to do just as well. So from our point of view, that works well. It allows, it's an open competition, and every year we go through with the units all the different measures and allow them to focus their best efforts to try to compete and win. And we continue to encourage all our units to try to beat the commandos. On your question about training, we train overseas extensively, I think more than probably half a dozen countries. And we train also in terms of bilateral exercises in many countries. We continue to use all these training opportunities to develop the capabilities that the Army requires. And at the present moment, I would say that we train very extensively, and we have training areas overseas to meet almost all of our training needs. So that's something that we're currently doing, and we continue to be appreciative to our partners that allow us to train in their countries.
Last two questions.
Can I just ask you, as the new chief of army, what are your top priorities for the army, and what would you say are the biggest challenge we see in our army today?
Okay. First of all, in terms of what are the sort of challenges, the first, of course, is the spectrum operations. I think the Army is expected to do a wider spectrum operation. We have to deal with a lot more uncertainty, and we have to build capabilities to deal with any incident that may arise. So that is the first challenge which our Army and I think many other armies around the world face. The second, I wouldn't say challenge, but challenge and opportunity is really the people opportunity. In the 1980s, about 1/3 of our soldiers had A-level diploma. Today, we have 75% of NSS, and by 2015, I believe it's going to be 85%, which means that we are going to have very highly educated, competent NSFs. From a 3G Army point of view, this is a great opportunity. But of course, they also have, especially when they're doing their national service duties, and have to come back for in-camp, there will be other challenges, work, family, other personal commitment. So this is something that the Army will have to work with our NS men to make sure that we continue to get their best contribution and also allow them to help them balance some of the other challenges. The third challenge would be in terms of training. As I mentioned, if you listen to the way the third generation army is going to train, it's quite complex. And it's not something that you can always just go out there and do, because some of these are virtual. And therefore, we are going to have to do a lot more in terms of using technology to do our training. So in terms of priorities, recognizing that these are the drivers, the opportunities. The first is people. Fundamental to the Army's leadership. We need to have very good, strong leadership, and the third generation Army more than ever before. Second, also people priority engagement. Engagement is very important. We need to make sure our soldiers are engaged, feel that they are doing something operationally meaningful, feel that they are making a meaningful contribution. This is also very important to us. And then completing the third will be completing the third generation Army transformation. That's quite important. We still got some way to go, and we need to continue to persist and make sure that all the pieces come together, train them, regularly exercise them, develop the doctrine, tactics, and so on and so forth. And the last part is the training transformation that must, keep up with the transformation of the 3G Army. So if you ask for the four sort of priority focus area, two are people, leadership, and engagement. Operationalizing the third generation Army, and of course the last is training. Underlying all this, of course, we have to continue to be operationally ready and do all the operational duties that we need to safeguard the country.
Okay, sure. Last question.
You understand that the age for officers and retirement now is extended to 50. So and I see generals like holding COA now 46 instead of the previous early 40s. Is there going to be a change in career advancement and in terms of age for the career as an officer in the SA?
We really recognized some time ago, even when in the earlier days, that we allow selective extension beyond 45, because we recognized that there was certain experience and expertise that we need to keep. We have really no plans to change any of the time frames that we already announced and are operating on. But what it means for the Army is that given that we now have people up to 50, there's really an opportunity for us to have our people who are more experienced and who are better trained. And this is something that I think from a third generation Army point of view is quite important, because we are dealing with much more complex system, complex operation, and having officers with the right experience, right expertise is critical.
So maybe, sorry, Dylan, you want to ask?
Yes.
One last question for CLA.
If you don't mind, let's go back to training. Over the years, we've seen unfortunate incidents where we have servicemen dying, taking IPPT or accidents and all that. So going forward, do you see a need for training to be so-called less rigorous or softened, or how do you see taking into account all these incidents?
Well, first of all, for us to be credible, capable, we must have tough, realistic training. Right? So that is something that is very important for the Army, for our servicemen, I think for Singapore, because without tough, realistic training, we are not going to have a credible, capable Army. What we have put a lot of focus on is in safety. In fact, you know that in terms of heat injuries, we have over the last 1 decade reduced them significantly. But still, it's not enough, because every accident, every injury is one too many. So the Army has put in place a very comprehensive safety system. We've got safety officers in all the formations, division. We have a very comprehensive safety system in place. We even we audit our own safety system. We follow international standards of occupational health and safety and get accredited every year. And we make sure that we educate our soldiers in terms of making sure that they understand and have some awareness of safety. Now, I just want to say that the Army is really about people. 280 plus 40,000, 320,000 soldiers. Every one of them unique, but every one of them needs to go through tough and realistic training. And the kind of training we do, we require our soldiers to push ourselves. Our soldiers will not push themselves if they do not believe we have a good safety system in place. Whether you are doing live firing, whether you are doing a route march, whether you are doing run, or whether you are in the jungle, doing navigation training, you will not do it, you will not push yourself if you do not believe the SAF or the Army has a good safety system in place. And therefore, it's our duty to make sure that we have the best possible safety system in place, and if there is an incident, we have the best possible evacuation system and medical support. So this is something we will continue to do, and we continue to emphasize on, but the nature of the military, the nature of the Army is that we have to push our people. And our people understand and know that. And I can say that I am personally very confident of our safety system in our ability to deal with emergency. First, prevent as much as we can and then deal with it. And I think our soldiers are also very confident, because without it, we won't be getting the kind of commitment, kind of dedication, and the kind of effort our soldiers put in training.